were to sit you down and ask you what your favorite zombie game was, or is, what would you tell me? Dying Light? Now that's a great choice. Absolutely fun game. Left 4 Dead 2? Oh, iconic co-op shooter. Perfect.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
I have a question for God. Why?
7 Days to Die? It's a fun survival ROM. Good choice. Plants vs. Zombies. Okay. I'm happy for you. But one game that released in 2011 became one of my personal favorite games of all time. Dead Island.
Yeah.
I got a zombie army, and you can't harm me. Yeah, hoodoo, you hoodoo, bitch. Drink blood like a vampire without warning. Hoodoo, you hoodoo, bitch. Stand up. Sam B got the thing that go bump in the night. Whoa, hoodoo, you hoodoo, bitch. Hide your kids, grab your wife, better get out of sight. Hoodoo, you hoodoo, bitch.
Dead Island is a zombie slasher taking place on the fictional Australian island of Bonoi, suffering from a zombie outbreak. Taking one of the 4 survivors who are immune to the virus, it's your duty to protect your crew and find a way to the mysterious voice on the radio for help. Oh, my keys. Fuck you, keys. I loved this game when I was a kid, and I remember vividly a memory of a friend of mine in algebra. After I had played the game so often, he was like, yeah, I don't know which game to get. I was thinking about either getting Battlefield 3 or Dead Island. Dead Island! Okay, then. But looking back in the realm of zombie games, I've seen people complain about Dead Island's gameplay, its graphics, its incomprehensible story, and I just sit and guffaw at these people and say, no!
No.
The game released over 12 years ago? Bad? Ugh. No, something from my childhood being considered outdated? Well, I haven't reviewed a game I hated yet. So, might as well give it a shot. Yeah, Dead Island's just fine. But it's definitely not the game I thought it was when I was younger. It definitely has its quality moments, decent gameplay, better graphics honestly than I thought it would have, especially playing the definitive edition. But the controls feel so out of sync with what you input, and the story has so many twists and turns that make little to no sense. But why? Has this game that I've seen as the pinnacle of the zombie genre aged so poorly over time? Let's answer that. Come on, let's go for a walk. Dead Island was developed by Techland, who at the time worked on the Call of Juarez games, and published by Deep Silver, mainly known for publishing the Stalker games, and would later on acquire the Saints Row franchise. Mostly because I remember a quote from Keith David in the 4th game talking about Dead Island, and that's how I knew they were the same publisher.
I was 12 hours into Dead Island when the Zen attacked. Now I'll never finish. I won't forgive them for that.
The game was originally announced back in 2006, and in early 2011 released one of the most intriguing cinematic trailers in gaming. It is still ranked incredibly high, surprisingly to this day. Somber melodies play as you watch a family experience the infection firsthand, with reverse footage of what played out, and then forward regular speed footage showing what led to the clash. Ending with home video filmed clips of the family before the attack. Ugh! Emotional gut punch! An emotional, gritty look at the zombie apocalypse. Fuck yeah! People were stoked for this game. I remember there was so much hype, but from the bugs and glitches at launch, and the realization that the trailer had little to nothing to do with the actual game, put a very sour taste in a lot of players' mouths. But not mine, baby! Woo! I bought this game day one. Actually, scratch that. I begged my mom to buy it because it was rated M for Mom Gotta Buy It. But being a 15-year-old kid with no concept of bad games yet, the bugs and funky controls were just part of the game in my eyes. Being a semi-mature adult now, I can confidently say that I'm pretty sure that they were not part of the game. I try not to be too critical of art, like movies or television or video games, because I like to think of the creation process and how difficult it must be to make a video game in the first place. But I'm a lot older now, a little more critical, a little more jaded, and I won't sugarcoat it. This game controls like a limp dick.
We've lost control! Abort! Abort!
I don't know what it is about the overall gameplay of Dead Island, but it just feels off. Moving around feels like you're always on a bed of ice on a Mario level or something. Running is even worse for some reason. Why am I sliding? Why am I wearing rollerblades?
Why are you the way that you are?
I genuinely had to switch. I'm normally a controller player. I have a controller that I usually have wired or wireless that I can play right from my PC, and I had to switch. Like at the beginning, I was like, I'm gonna play it just like I used to, and I remembered, oh my god, this sucks. This is so bad. I don't want to use these controls anymore. So I switched to keyboard and mouse, and it's not much better. I mean, a little bit, but not much. It is not great. The movement just sucks. I don't know what else to say. Driving can either feel like you're Speed Racer or bumper cars. Oh my god, there was a time where I got stuck on a bridge. I just wanted to turn my game off more than anything. I hate the driving in this game. Not as bad as the movement or the driving, but both melee combat and gun firing feel concerningly inaccurate. A little circle snaps onto your enemy, a little white circle, if you're using a melee weapon, to signify which limb you want to attack. But the circle can't decide where your character wants to attack because the wobbly camera work and controls prevent accuracy. Like, what the hell? So the circle will jump from a headshot to a chest shot to a hand shot to an arm shot to a leg shot over the course of a few seconds without any major movement from the player. Oh, but when you do make those hits, nothing is more satisfying than smashing open a zombie's head and hearing their scream, just stop. It's incredibly satisfying. Slicing and breaking limbs off feel very fluid and clean, and using your ultimate in the game, known as Fury, you become a force of nature. So the combat can be pretty hit or miss. Nah, I'm not gonna do it. I've also heard that the definitive edition kinda sucks? Question mark? I've seen reviews saying play the originals instead, but why? I have not seen anything. Like, this game looks surprisingly well. You know what? That's a good segue. We're gonna talk about the graphics. Let's talk about how this game looks.
I'm an island boy, and I'm an island boy.
Taking place on the island of Banoi, Dead Island takes the zombie slasher to an all-new environment, a tropical paradise. Most zombie games, up to this point in gaming, took place in dark, very creepy places, a la Resident Evil or iconic zombie movie stages, a la Left 4 Dead or Dead Rising. The idea of a relaxing paradise becoming a last stand location was definitely unique, and they took that idea and completely ran with it.
My dad. Oh, fuck, my own fucking brother. Jesus Christ. What else could I do? Let him kill me? Why are you looking at me like that?
4 main areas make up the island of Banoi: the tropical resort with the hotel, the overrun city of Moresby, the inland jungle and its villages, and the maximum security prison. Each area has its own unique look to them. The resort is bright, colorful. The water looks surprisingly good for 2011. But I don't know when the definitive edition re-released, but these look really good. Moresby is so dingy and covered in trash and muck. A lot of the city already in struggle due to the rascal gangs. The jungle is eerie and dark with abandoned villages and burial tombs. It gives the area an extra horror vibe. The prison is tight and closed, pushing more to the slasher idea to make you feel more claustrophobic. Each area has its own distinct vibe and aesthetic to them, making exploring these areas way more fun. For 2011, this game doesn't look bad. Even the definitive edition doesn't look that bad. After I turned off the motion blur. Like, seriously, Techland? Motion blur? I'm disappointed. The water is fluid. The light rays aren't overused outside of the resort. Blood spurt's a little wonky and can splat in any direction, but otherwise is very nice. Jesus. But we can't talk about blood and guts and gore without talking about the dudes that caused it. Let's talk zombos! I see the Zombies of Dead Island as a love letter to all zombies that influenced the genre before. The Walker is the iconic shambling brain eater, walking very slow and can easily be beaten, but in a horde can be very tricky to overcome. Infected are the freshly turned survivors, barely looking zombified. They can run incredibly fast and pack a hell of a punch, a la 28 Days Later, and it can even sound like their pre-turned selves at some points, which is just extra eerie. Bugs are hulking behemoth undead that move incredibly slow, but can do serious damage over time. Suiciders are mutated, bulging zombies that, if agitated, will explode. What's worse is that you can hear them whispering, "Help me."
Who's next?
Fuck, that's rough. Rams are like bulldozers, a reference to the Charger from Left 4 Dead 2. These monsters will run you over at surprising speed. Finally, the Butcher. Jesus. This one's unique. Definitely unique. A festering corpse without a face and has no hands, but has whittled its forearms into dagger-like claws. It can move faster than an infected as well. God, I hate them. Each zombie feels new, yet some familiar, each giving their own challenge to overcome, and the noises they make are so good and distinct. That's another segue I can work with. Let's talk music. Let's talk music.
With the Mario Brothers and plumbing's again.
Besides making one of the best songs in video game history,
I got a zombie army and you can't harm me. Yeah, hoodoo, bitch.
yeah, that one. The music in Dead Island is good. I like it. The menu theme is iconic to me, and when I hear it used in some YouTube videos, I get actually genuinely excited. The ominous low chants and hyperstrings of the different areas feel very horror film. Giles Lamb made the music for Dead Island, and I hope that he realizes that his work is some of my personal favorite. Genuinely, great job. The sound design is also very well done, created by SFX Design, and while not as good as the music in my opinion, it's still very satisfying.
Who's next?
Okay, never mind. I love it. Something about the cries of the infected and the silence after slicing them is weirdly satisfying. I don't know. I'll have to go back and check and see if any other zombie games do this, but I'm pretty sure this is a Dead Island original. Turning on a car, the sizzling of electricity on a modded weapon, even drinking and eating sound surprisingly good. Crisp, yet not overdone. Like I like my bacon. Fucking what? All right, I'm done beating around the bush. It's time to get into the story, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This is gonna be fucking bad. Oh wait, I can kill a little bit of time. Let's talk about our contestants. Let's talk about our survivors.
Choose your character.
Each survivor has their own backstories, special perks, abilities, and unique furies. Well, let's go down the list. Logan is an ex-pro footballer. After making it big, getting addicted to alcohol, crashing a car, and killing a woman, Logan ended up in prison. After getting out and failing further into alcoholism, he ended up on Benoit. Logan specializes in throwing weapons, and his fury sees him throwing unlimited knives. Drinking alcohol also gives him a slight regeneration to his health. Perna is an ex-police officer. After shooting a child molester who can't be legally touched, she was renounced from her department and works freelance security for VIPs, hoping to get the chance to shoot the person responsible for losing her job. Guns are Perna's jam, giving her additional ammo space and her ultimate being an AK-47 with unlimited ammo. Nice. Shen is a special agent for the Hong Kong police. After her father was killed by the Triad, Shen wanted to prove herself to honor her father's memory, but her unit is seen nothing more as marketing. Turns out she just needs a zombie apocalypse to prove herself. Bladed weapons are Shen's specialty. Having bladed weapons last longer and uses a katana in her fury. Finally, the man, the myth, the one-hit wonder, Sam B. After surviving Hurricane Katrina, Sam B wanted to rap. After a Halloween parody song became his #1 hit, Sam B can't seem to get ahead. But this concert on Benoit is going to be different. Sam is a blunt expert.
Smoke weed.
Hell yeah, he is. Hell yeah, he is. Blunt weapons last longer with him, and he just fucking punches the shit out of everybody for his fury. These characters are just that, characters. I like their backstories and everything, but they're mainly just devices for witty one-liners and exposition. But in the cutscenes, which are very well shot, because it never centers one character over another, so no matter what character you're playing as, you feel like you're a decent part of the scene. You see them working together, you see them trying to find out what to do next. I want them to survive, as stupid as that sounds, since I control them.
There's one more thing. My daughter can't stay here.
What?
Soon I won't be in my right mind. I don't want to hurt her.
We'll take her to the lifeguard.
He can't protect her. Not like you can. I want you to take her.
Sorry, Bubba. No way.
Hey, is this what you need? Then give me what I need.
What are you saying, Dad? I'm not going anywhere.
No, honey, listen to me. You have to, honey. There's nothing for you here now.
I'm not leaving you.
Look at me. Look at me. I love you. And this is how I want you to remember me. You go on now. And don't you lose hope. Live your life.
And you know what I really want them to survive? The writing of the fucking story! Oh my god! I am going to try and speed through this story so we can talk about its inconsistencies, but I don't think I'm going to have a short amount of time. We begin our story in the hotel where we find out the apocalypse is happening. Nice! After being knocked out and saved by a lifeguard, haha funny, they find out that you and 3 others are immune to turning. Very convenient. Now you and your friends need to help find a safer place for the other survivors, as well as finding the mysterious voice on the radio that contacted you. Ooh. After securing the lifeguard tower, you're tasked with helping around the tower and the other survivors, giving the player a reason to go out and check the resort. After helping around the lifeguard tower, as well as the lighthouse and the other random survivors around the resort, supplies will start to go low and you'll need to go into the city to search. After getting a bank truck from the hotel, you'll need a mechanic to get it armored up. After taking it to the mechanic, he reveals he's bit and he wants you to take his daughter in exchange for him souping up your truck. Once all done, you pull off into the city. Pulling up to the church, we meet Mother Helen, the leader of the church survivors. The town is found to be almost dry of supplies as well, but after helping the church, they give us access to the shithole that leads us into the rich part of town, which still has supplies. But surprise, surprise, they don't want to share. Our survivors ponder even helping anybody at this point, possibly just looking out for themselves. But after Jin, the mechanic's daughter, is kidnapped and abused by the Rascal Gang, they go back to the lifeguard tower to see what to do next and build up the signal to help the voice on the radio. Once the voice is heard, it is learned to be Colonel Ryder White of the Australian Special Forces. His wife was infected at the prison and needs their blood to make an antidote, in which he'll get them off the island as their payment. But they need a guide to get to the prison, and there's a dude in the jungle named Moen who can get them there. Heading to the jungle will lead the survivors to a gang war, and helping out one of the lords take out the other, he tells you where Moen is. Ryder also tells you that there is a lab in the jungle that can help with the antidote creation. Once at the lab, the scientists ask for a mummy sample from a tribe where they think the virus may have originated from. After finding the burial chamber and saving a young woman from a raging chief, the rest of the scientists run some tests on the young woman. Once a few quests are complete, the lab will fall into chaos, and you will need to save the young woman, Yerima. Once she's saved, Moen will take you to the prison. With the survivors, Jin, Yerima, and Moen in the prison, you'll need to win over the favor of the prisoners to get to the wing White is in. Once there, White will gas you, and a prisoner named Kevin will tell you that White took the antidote and is headed for a helicopter with his wife. Once on the roof, Kevin will explain that White was calling in a nuke the entire time and was never going to keep his word. Jin, distraught from her experiences, releases his contained wife and White gets bitten. Ryder shoots Jin, injects himself with the antidote, mutating him further into a monstrosity. Once defeated, Kevin will take the survivors and Yerima off the island heading for a helicarrier, explaining that the world will never be the same. fucking hell, dude. I can't. I read that. It took forever to go through that. That fucking. Genuine distress. Genuine distress. It was such a long, arduous story, and to me, most of it didn't matter. My problem with the story is that most of the first and second act could have been for naught. Can you guys tell me what happened to Sinamoi the lifeguard? How about Mother Helen? What about Mike? Nick? Svetlana?
You like sweaty. Okay, baby, we're going to party. Now find me some champagne. And not the cheap shit.
I don't know what happens to anyone in the game besides the main characters. And the game doesn't even care about them either. It just kind of ditches them with just hearing from Sinamoi every once in a while. It felt like the first and second half were two different stories. Helping the survivors at the lifeguard tower was completely abandoned once we got to the jungle. I don't even think we hear from them in Act 3 or 4. But my concerns were confirmed at the beginning of the second game, Riptide. They claimed that nobody made it.
Excuse me, what?
What? So the first game really is all for nothing, huh? My God, it's just trying to find sense in the stories. And what is Ryder's motivations? Get the antidote and get off the island like a bandit? Like, yeah, like that was really gonna work. This sounds like a fucking Tom and Jerry sketch. Too cartoony for my taste. And who the fuck is Kevin? Who is Kevin? We are in a maximum security prison. Enter a plot convenient prisoner, stage right. What? To me, the game felt too divided in terms of its story. I think that's the main problem I have with this game, is I have to jump mental hurdles to try and make sense of this story. Even with the voice setup at the beginning of the game, but while we're meeting the lifeguard and going through all of that, abandoning half of the plot drive for a hasty conclusion, to me, poor writing. But something I didn't expect was the DLC.
Money, please! Money, please.
How could a game like Dead Island pull off DLC? Weapon mods? Yeah, we got a couple of those. We got the Ripper and then Meat Bait, along with the Arena, a free-for-all gauntlet for zombie-killing goodness. But the final DLC was one I didn't see coming. A new mini-campaign from Ryder's point of view. And this is where the story starts to make a little bit more sense, kind of. Does the first half of the game not matter still? Yeah. Shit! Ryder was on the island during the virus's initial outbreak, and his wife was alive at the prison. She was tending to the people that were starting to act up. After his helicopter was brought down by an infected co-pilot, Ryder needs to complete his mission of blowing the bridge to the rest of the island to cut off and make it quarantined.
They just left me here to bleed out. This disease is gonna spread. There's no stopping it now. Not unless they nuke the whole bloody island. I've got to crawl away from here before the infected find me. Oh shit, one of them sees me. Oh Christ, more of them. Oh my God.
After his mission was a success, his wife tells him that she's infected.
I'm waiting for you in the transformer room. It's on the way to the basement. We have to get the power back on, or we can't run the elevator
radioed the
or any other
rescue
system in this
helicopter
building.
and told them to leave me here. The disease is taking control of me, and soon. Oh God! I told Ryder to stay away, but he's so stubborn. He has to stay away. I don't want him to see me like this. I want him to remember me the way I was, not like this. Ryder, if you find this, I'm sorry. Tell Kate and Pam that Mommy loves them. Oh God. Oh.
But she's being looked after by Kevin. What? Kevin? Yes, Kevin. But when Ryder gets to the prison and sees who is looking after his wife, Kevin turns out to be Karen.
Oh God, no, excuse, now you are. Get secure. She charged me. If I wouldn't have ducked, she would, oh no.
Not that Karen, Karen, like Ferryman of the Damned, a cyber hacker for hire. I always thought it was very confusing. At the very end of the game, the final monologue from like a news report talks about a guy that we had never met before.
It is home to many dangerous criminals and terrorists, including Karen, the infamous hacker for hire who has worked for everyone from Al-Qaeda to the Yakuza. Meanwhile, news of the lethal virus on the island has caused a worldwide panic.
But the setup for Kevin to be Karen was good, for me anyway. It was satisfying for me. Karen wants off the island, and Ryder is going to help him. He's got a plan to get her an antidote. Turns out, the entire time we've been playing the main game, we've not been talking to Ryder, but Karen. He's been trying to get us to get to the prison so we can get Ryder the antidote. A cyber hacker playing both sides. I like it. Ryder now is at the whim of Karen to ensure the safety of his wife. Once the survivors arrive at the prison and are gassed, which Karen did by the way, Ryder turns on Karen, takes the antidote, and goes to retrieve his wife and escape. From here on, the ending cutscenes still play the same, but now have way more context. But we also know what happened at the lab. Yerma, turns out, is the source of the virus. If she bites someone, they die and turn. Excuse me? Ryder's campaign gives the game so much more context, at least for Acts 3 and 4, and giving the main antagonist a lot more depth and a lot more light is shown on the hidden one, Karen. I didn't think that DLC was going to be needed for Dead Island, but now I look at it, and without it, I don't think I'd look back at it at all with as much regard. Especially after that divided story act shit. Like, that was bad. Honestly, the Ryder campaign is a perfect addition. But does it make the game good? Now, let's talk about it. So, does my insight into this 12-year-old game really give it justice? I don't know. Honestly, I probably lost a lot of you with the story segment. So, no, I want all of my game reviews to end the same. I want to give you my interpretation of the game, give it my take, crack some jokes, leave you with your own decision to play the game. Dead Island is definitely a game of its time, changing the zombie formula for, in my opinion, the better. Techland went on to make its sequel, Riptide, and its spiritual successor, Dying Light, which does everything Dead Island did and just improved it. It's just so much better. And the announcement of an actual sequel was announced like 8 years ago, but now we're actually getting it, so I'm excited. With landscapes as unique for the time, zombies with sloppy combat but unique designs, fun ways to mod your weapons, and a nonsensical story without its DLC. Dead Island is a very fun romp. Everyone should at least try. 6 out of 10. Man, I really didn't think my grade would be that low, but it is an old game. But hey, they can't all be winners, and trust me, I'm going to have a couple here that's going to be real opinionated. But I loved this review, man. I actually enjoyed making this game. I mean, playing this game. It was so fun to just mindlessly kill zombies for a while. Just relaxing. It's like Doom. But thank you guys for watching. Please leave any suggestions down below for games you'd like me to play in the future. And for now, that's all, folks. I'll talk to you guys later. Ah!